This is video number 3 on the topic motion in a straight line. First, let me recollect how average velocity, average speed, and instantaneous velocity and instantaneous speed are defined. Consider this motion along the x-axis. The origin is here. The body is moving from this initial position to the final position. One way it can move like this, and then can turn back, and then turn again towards the right side and reach the final point. So it's going towards right, turning back towards left, and then again towards right. So all these things are happening in one single straight line, but just for the sake of explaining, I have shown some little gap. So let me mark a few points here. Point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, point number 4, and point number 5. So for this motion, one can draw x versus t graph. This is trajectory which is path of the moving body. So for this motion, along the x-axis, one can draw x versus t graph. So this is the initial position, and x is increasing to location 1 and then to 2, and in 3 x has decreased. So this is x3, this is x2, x1, this is xi, and then x4 is same as x2. And then x5, and then the final position xf. So the corresponding times, with the times when it is at the location 1 be t1, let it reach a location 2 at time t2. So this x1 at time t1, x2 at time t2, x3 which is x and x2 at time t3, x4 is same as x2, at time t4, x5, at time t5, and in the final position at the corresponding time tf. So x versus t graph of this motion, join the initial location the point number 1, point number 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the final location. So this is the x versus t graph looks for this motion. So one way of getting this graph is, this is a trajectory along the x-axis. So on this graph, if you have to draw this trajectory, it will be along this vertical axis, because here the x-axis is vertical direction. So this thing, assume this is made of a metal wire connecting the points I, 1, 2 to the final point. So this metal wire has to be stretched such that point number 1 is pushed to T1, point number 2 is pushed to T2, and so on. Another way to understand this is this, assume this is a metal wire is connecting these points. So if you squash this metal wire, it will lie on this x-axis, which will be the trajectory of this motion. So average velocity is defined between any 2 points. Suppose I take this point, say capital T1, and another point, say capital T2. Between these 2 points, I can define average velocity. That is the time interval between these 2 points. That is this one. This is delta t. And the corresponding change in position, which is delta x. So between the time intervals, time instant t1 to t2, average velocity between t1 t2 is delta x divided by the corresponding delta t. Average speed is the path length covered in this interval, that is this length of this path. So path length divided by the same amount of time delta t. Instantaneous velocity is defined at any point. You don't need a time interval, but all the points instantaneous velocity is defined at any point. To get instantaneous velocity, you have to go to the point, take a small amount of time interval dt, and find the corresponding dx. So this ratio dx by dt is the instantaneous velocity at this point, at this time instant. Similarly, at this point or at this point, dt is this much and dx is downwards. So here dx is this vertical distance dx by dt, but here the dx is negative. Dx is final x minus the initial x. Since the x is decreasing, the final x is less. And also this instantaneous velocity is slope of the tangent. Tangent is a line which touches the curve at one point. So at this point, this is tangent, and this tangent is going upwards. So the slope is positive. Dx is positive, so slope is positive. At this point, the tangent is going downwards, so slope is negative, and dx is negative, so slope is negative. Instantaneous speed is magnitude of instantaneous velocity, which is always positive. What's the average velocity between these 2 points? It's nothing but delta x by delta t, which is tan of this angle. And this line joining the 2 points is called secant. So this is slope of secant. Secant is a line which is touching the 2 points of a curve, and tangent is the line which touches the curve at only 1 point. So with this understanding, you can solve this few questions. Timestamps are given in the description box. You can watch parts of video if you are running short of time. In this video, I will discuss 3 conceptual questions based on calculation of average velocity and speed of a body. Finally, I will summarize this video. This is the first question. A particle moves on a straight line in such a way that it covers first half distance with speed 3 meters per second and next half distance in 2 equal time intervals with speeds 4.5 meter per second and 7.5 meter per second respectively. Find average speed of the particle. You can pause and run this question. The particle is moving in a straight line. First half, and then the second one is covered in 2 equal time intervals. So the motion can consist of 3 parts. First part, the distance covered is S1. Second part, third part, and then the speeds for the 3 parts. 3 meter per second, 4.5 meter per second, and S1 equal to S2 plus S3 because first half the distance is covered with speed 3 meters per second, which is the first part of the motion, and T2 equal to T3. That's also given in the question. Second part and third part, the time is same. So the time to go from here to here is same as the time to go from here to here. So T2 equal to T3, and the time is distance by speed. Distance is S2 by V2, 4.5 equal to S3 by the speed 7.5. Find the average speed of the motion. So this is the initial point and this is the final point. So for this full motion, average speed is the total distance covered. This is the definition of speed. Total distance by total time. And T1 is S1 by, so this is nothing but the numerator, but denominator is S1 by V1, S2 by V2. V2 is 4.5. And S2 plus S3 is same as S1 because the first half the distance is covered in the first part. So numerator is 2S1. Velocities are given. So S2 and S3 are written in terms of S1. S1 will cancel and the answer will come. Two equations. Using 1 and 2, we can write S2 and S3 in terms of S1. So 2 in 1. S1 equal to S2. Instead of S3, I can write 7.5 by 4.5 times S2. So this will give S2 in terms of S1. So this is 15 by 9 multiply numerator and denominator by 2. So the total will be 24 by 9. So S2 is 9 by 24. Is a fraction of S1. And that fraction is 9 by 24. So S3 should be remaining fraction. S2 plus S3 should add to give S1. S2 is a fraction of S1, which is 9 by 24. So the remaining fraction, which is 15 by 24 of S1 should be S3. Because if S2 plus S3, if I add these two, 9 plus 15, 24 by 24 times S1, it is answer. So these two I have to use here to get the answer. S1 will cancel. 1 by V1 is 1 by 3 plus S2 is 9 by 24 into 1 by, this is V2. S2 by V2. V2 is 4.5. Then third term is S3, 15 by 24. V3 is 7.5. S1 will cancel. This is a simple calculation. This is go 2 times. This is also 2 times. So 1 by 12, 2 divided by 1 by 3 plus 1 by 12 twice. Second term and third term both are 1 by 12, which is 1 by 6. So the answer is 2 divided by 1 by 3 plus 1 by 6. This is 2 by 6, so 3 by 6 for simple calculation. 1 by 3 is same as 2 by 6, so 2 plus 1, 3, 3 by 6, which is half. So half it goes up, it will become 2. So the average speed is 4 meter per second. That is the correct answer. This is the trajectory of the motion, which is the path taken by the particle. So here there is no turning back, it's a straight motion. So distance and displacement are same, even velocity and speed are same. So this is what I explained here. So this is the trajectory of the motion. First part, second part, third part. First part, half the distance is covered. So S1 equal to S2 plus S3. And second part and third part, the time is same, but velocity of the third part is more. So more distance will be covered in the third part. So S3 will be more than S2. S1 equal to S2 plus S3. And then V1, V2, V3 are given in the question. And then T2 equal to T3 that's also given in the question. And T2 is the distance by the uniform speed or velocity. And T3 is S3 by V3. So two equations if you have. And average speed is the total distance covered, which is S1 plus S2 plus S3 by total time. And S2 plus S3 is same as S1 because first half of the distance is covered in the first part. And T1 is S1 by V1, which is 3. T2 is S2 by V2, 4.5. And T3 is S3 by V3, and V3 is 7.5. So if S2 and S3 are written in terms of S1, this answer will come. So these two equations we can use to get S2 and S3 in terms of S1. So S1 equal to S2 plus S3 is eliminated from here. S3 is V3 by V2, 7.5 4.5 into S2. So simplifying, we get 24 by 9. So S2 is fraction of S1, which is 9 by 24. So S3 should be remaining fraction because S2 and S3 should combine to give S1. So the remaining fraction is 15 because 24 minus 9 is 15. Average speed is 2, S1 will cancel. So 1 by 3 plus 1 by 12 plus 1 by 2. Do the next question. A body covers 1/3 of the distance with a velocity v1, second 1/3 of distance with velocity v2, and last 1/3 of distance with velocity v3. Average velocity is. Straightforward question. You can pause and attempt it. First, draw the trajectory of the motion. A body is covering 1/3 of the distance, and second 1/3 in the second part, and third 1/3 of the distance in the third part. So three equal parts by distance wise. So if you call this distance as d, second also d, third part is also distance as d. But the velocities are different. v1, v2, v3. So this is the trajectory of the motion, which is the path taken by the particle. This is the initial point. This is the final location. So average velocity is the total displacement divided by the total time. Total displacement is how far the final point is from the initial point, which is 3d. And the time is, I can write in terms of d and v1, d by v1 plus d by v2. Third part, the time is, d will cancel, and the answer in terms of v1, v2, v3. So d will go. Multiply numerator and denominator by v1, v2, v3. So this will give 3, v1, v2, v3. First term is v2, 3. second term 3 1, V2 V3 means V2 into V3. Second term is V3 into V1. Third term is V1 V2. So two velocities taken two at a pair. 2 is the correct answer. The motion is covered in three equal parts. One third of the motion, second one third, third one third. Equal distance, but the velocities are different. Average velocity total displacement is s1 plus s2 plus s3 divided the total time t1 plus t2 plus t3. So this is 3D, and then times are d by v1, d by v2, d by v3. Simplifying, you'll get this one. Do the next question. A man walks on a straight road from his home to a market 2.5 kilometers away with a speed of 5 kilometers per hour. On reaching the market, he instantly turns and walks back with a speed 7.5 kilometers per hour. What is the magnitude of average velocity and average speed of the man over the time interval 0 to 30 minutes? Second part 0 to 5 minutes. Third part of the question 0 to 40 minutes. You can pause and run this question. So this is home. So the man is going from the home to market, which is 2.5 kilometers away. And this forward speed 5 kilometers per hour. And after reaching the market, she turns back and travels in this direction. So that speed is 7.5. So this is the initial position of the man, and final position will depend on the time. At 30 minutes he'll be somewhere, for 50 minutes he'll be somewhere, and 40 minutes he'll be somewhere. That we have to find out first. So the time taken for the man to go from home to market, the total distance, which is the distance 2.5 kilometer by the speed 5 kilometers per hour. So this is half hour, which is 30 minutes. So at the end of 30 minutes, you have reached the market. So for the first part of the question, this is the final question. And the time to go from or return from market to home is the distance by the speed, which is higher here, 7.5. So the time will be less. Same distance is covered with higher speed. So obviously the time will be less. This is 25 by 7, it's 1/3 hour. So 60 by 30 minutes, which is 20 minutes. 1/3 of 60 is 20. So in 20 minutes, you have come from home to market. So for the second part of the question, the final question will be home. Third part, 40 minutes. So 10 minutes you have covered from here to here. So you come in the middle because 20 minutes is to go from here to here and do the return journey. So half the time will be in the middle. So once you know the final questions of the three parts, the answer can be found out. So first part, this is the initial question, this is the final question. Let me call it F1 for the first part of the question. Average velocity is displacement, which is how far the final point is from the initial point, which is 2.5 kilometers. Divided by the time, which is 30 minutes. 30 minutes in terms of hour will be half an hour. So it's 5 kilometers per hour. And average speed is the distance covered, which is 2.5 kilometers, and the time is same, which is 5 kilometers per hour. For the first part of the motion, the straight motion, there is no turning back. So average speed and velocity is same, which is 5. For the second part of the question, this is the final question. We've already F2. F2 stands for the final question of the second part of the question. So velocity average is displacement. Displacement is how far the final position is from the initial position, which is 0, because initial position and final position are the same, which is the home. So 0 by the time, which is 0. But speed is the distance that is traveled, that's 2.5 plus 2.5. 5 kilometers, but the time is 50 minutes. In terms of hours, will be 50 by 60 hours, because 60 minutes is 1 hour. So 50 minutes will correspond to 50 by 60. So 0 will cancel, 5 and 5 will cancel, so 6 will go up. So 6 kilometers per hour. The second part of the motion, there is a turning back. So that's why the velocity and speed need not be same, won't be same, because distance and displacement won't be same. Third part of the question, the final question is here, F3, at a distance of 2.5 by 2, which is 1.25 kilometer, because 30 minutes to go from here to here, so remaining 10 minutes to go from here to the middle point, because return journey, the total time is 20 minutes. So remaining 10 minutes, you have covered half the distance of the return journey. So it will be the middle of this home and market. Third part, the average velocity is the displacement. That is how far the final position is of the initial point, which is 1.25. This is 1.25, so this is also 1.25 kilometers. By the time is 40 minutes. So in hours, it is 40 by 60 hours. So it is 1.25. 0 will cancel. So this is 2 by 3. So 3 will come up and 2 is down. So this is 1.25 into half. So this is nothing but 1.25 plus 1.25 by 2. Because 3 by 2 is 1 plus half. So 1 will give me 1.25 and half will give me this one. So 1.25 by 2 is 0.625. So if I add these two, I'll get 1.875 kilometers per hour. That is the average speed of the third part. Sorry, average velocity. So the third part, the average speed is the total distance is 1.25. So 1.25 plus 2.5, 3.75 kilometers. Time is same, 40 by 60 hours. So this is 3.75 into 3 by 2. So same way, this 3.75 plus half of 3.75, which is half of 3 is 1.5 plus half of 0.75. Simple calculation you can do in multiple ways. Whatever way is convenient for you, you can do. So this is 5 plus 7, 12, carry over 1, 4.25 plus this one. So this is 2 3s are 6, 15, 7, 5. 2 3s are 6, 15, 2 7s are 14, 7, 5. So this is 5, 7 plus 5 is 12, carry over 1, so 6, 4.625 kilometers per hour. So speed is more than the velocity, which is 1.875. Whenever there is turning back, speed and velocity will not be different, will not be same, they'll be different because distance and displacement are different. So first part, phi and phi, the answer is correct. Second part, 0 and 6, 0 and 6, distance covered is 5. So second part, the answer is correct. The third part, it's 1.875 and 4.625. 1.875 and I made some minor mistake there. This is 3, 4. Yeah, this should be 5. Already 4 has come from 3 and 1. So 5.625. This is what I explained here. So time taken by the man to go from home to market is the distance, which is 2.5 kilometers. By the speed for the forward motion, it is 5. So it's half an hour. Time taken by the man to go from market to home, that's the return journey. Higher velocity, 7.5. So the time will be less, which is 1/3. Total time taken is T1 plus T2, which is 50 minutes. So this is the trajectory of the motion. Initial point is home, but the final point will depend on the time taken. So the first part, the final point is here. Second part, the final point is here. The third part of the motion, the final point is in the middle. So 0 to 30 minutes. So the final point is here. So displacement is 2.5 by, time is 30 by 60 hours. So 5 towards mark. Speed is distance by time, which is same as this displacement by time, because for the first part, the motion is straight, there is no turning back. So velocity and speed will be same. Second part of the question, 50 minutes time. So the final location is the same as the initial location because it's reached home. So displacement is 0. So velocity is 0. Speed is the total distance, which is 2.5 into 2 divided by the total time. And total distance covered is the back and forth motion. Home to market 2.5 and the return market to home 2.5. So it's 5. Third part of the question, 40 minutes. So 30 minutes is the time to go from home to market. So remaining 10 minutes, she will travel half the distance because the return journey, the total time is 20 minutes. So half the time will come, half the distance, which is 1.25. So displacement is 1.25 and distance traveled is 3.75. Average velocity is distance displacement 1.25 by the time, which is this one, and average with the total distance covered, which is 2.5 plus 1.25, 3.75 by the time. To summarize, average velocity is change in position delta x by the corresponding time delta t, and average with the path length by time. In 1D motion, if there is no turning back, then velocity and speed are same because the displacement and distance are same. You can ask your doubts in the comment section.